The Los Angeles Lakers went from a team building through the draft in the post-Kobe era to landing LeBron James in free agency, putting them in a win-now scenario that eventually led to the blockbuster trade for Anthony Davis. The duo of Davis and LeBron won a championship just 2 seasons ago, but now after getting bounced out in the first round last year and missing the playoffs altogether this season, they're in a tough spot, and I don't get the feeling it's going to get that much better, so let's take a look at this. If you guys like the content, smash the like button, smash the subscribe button. Let's go for 69 likes on today's video, and let's get into this. This video is sponsored by PrizePicks. It's a player prop site that for me has made the already intense playoffs even more exciting. You basically just choose over or under from a bunch of different lines for up to 10 times your entry. And I'm feeling good about today's. I'm taking Kevin Durant's over on points. A lot was made about his struggles in game 1. I think he comes out and puts all that talk to rest. I'm going with Andre Drummond over 8.5 rebounds, as that seems too good. Then I'm taking over Marcus Smart assists. After playing 36 minutes in game 1, I think he gets there with ease. Then lastly, I'm taking under Jason Tatum 3.5 made threes, as that just seems too aggressive. If this hits, my $100 entry becomes $1,000. If you guys are interested, go to the link in the description, and I actually have a pretty awesome new exclusive promo. If you guys sign up with my link or use code Jimmer, once you do at least a $5 entry and Kyrie scores at least 1 point in the first round versus Boston, you get $50 in promo credits. I know 1 point is a lot, but I think he can do it. Thank you PrizePicks for sponsoring today's video. The Lakers' future doesn't look all that great, and I really mean that. Let's start by looking at the situation staring us in the face, and that's Russell Westbrook. The former MVP at this point just hurts your team more than helps, especially given the burden of his contract. We've seen, just from his comments at the end of the season, pushing the blame on practically everyone else but himself, that a lot of his downfall really just comes from a flawed mentality. Just look what he said in his postseason interview. Obviously, I could have had a better season, but based on the positions and how we played and where I was at on the floor, I wasn't really able to do some things that I was able to do even last year. I'm coming off averaging a triple-double, so anything less than that would not be a good season for me in my eyes. Do you know what I'm saying? The fact that he's this blind at this point on how a player actually impacts the game and that it doesn't all revolve around box score numbers is mind-blowing. Most 12-year-old NBA fans have come to the simple conclusion that a triple-double quite literally means absolutely nothing. We saw a ton of praise at the end of the season for his play, but I was just in disbelief of everyone's memory. This is what he did at the end of the year in Houston. This is what we saw at the end of the year in Washington. I'm not sure what it is about the final stretch, if it's weaker defenses, injuries piling up, but yes, he has success to close out the year. But this is something we know we can't count on in the playoffs. Last year, he shot 33% from the field in the playoffs. In his last 5 trips, he shot in 38% from the field, and in his career, just 41% from the field. So considering how this team is built, its championship hopes, and the negative effect Westbrook has on a team's mentality, there's no denying he has to go, but what can they get for him? Luckily for the Lakers, his contract is finally in a somewhat attractive position to certain teams across the league if they're getting something of value along with him. He's going to be on the last year of his deal, where he's going to earn $47 million. I don't think too many teams are jumping up and down about what Russell Westbrook can bring to them on the court, but if they can get him, along with some kind of future draft compensation, to get out of some long-term deals to free up future cap space, they might be interested. A team we've seen come up a lot lately would be the Charlotte Hornets, swapping Westbrook for 32-year-old Gordon Hayward with 2 more years left on his contract, getting over $30 million a season. But apparently, the Lakers aren't too interested in that deal, which makes sense to a degree, adding an injury-prone player to an already injury-prone group. So what they're probably looking to do is send Westbrook with a first-rounder or multiple first-rounders for a player they wouldn't ordinarily be able to trade for if Westbrook wasn't on the last year of his contract. Something that seemed very interesting on paper would be the Indiana Pacers being able to bring in Brogdon and Buddy Hield, giving up Westbrook and some level of draft compensation. A home run deal for the Lakers in the short term, and a solid move for the Pacers, trying to build around a new young core. I also like the idea of Jeremy Grant with the Pistons' ability to just take on Westbrook's money. Then you've got LeBron James, who despite being 37 years old, is somehow still one of the best players on the planet, averaging 30 points, 8 rebounds and 6 assists, shooting 52% from the field and 36% from 3. Now what's so interesting about LeBron's place with this team for the future is it just can't be factored in past next season. He's on contract for 1 more year and that's it. And barring a miracle that allows the Lakers to get his son Bronny James, he's not going to be a Laker once he arrives. Right now Bronny is going into his senior season of high school, so assuming the draft eligibility rules stay the same, over the next couple years, he's going to be eligible for the 2024 draft, making the best case scenario right now that the Lakers are able to sign him to a 1-year extension or a 1+1, then he leaves to team up with Bronny. The worst case scenario being that he leaves after next season and signs a 1-year placeholder somewhere else. Then you have Anthony Davis, who's on contract till 2024, assuming he declines the following year player option. Now, when Davis is on the court, there's no denying he's one of the best players in the world, but keeping him on the court has been the problem. Last year he played 36 games, and this year just 40. If he has another injury-riddled season next year, following that, he's now going to be over 30 years old with just 1 more year left on his deal, putting his trade value in a not-so-great place, making it super tough for the Lakers to bail themselves out of this pending situation. Now, those are the big names that matter the most to this roster, but let's just take a look at how bad things are outside of them. Their young, shiny piece that the Lakers fans delusionally thought they were going to trade for every name under the sun, Talen Horton-Tucker, is now past his rookie deal. He's got just 1 more year left, fully locked up, coming off a season where he put up 10 points on terrible efficiency. Kendrick Nunn didn't even take the court this season due to a knee injury, and he's only got a player option for next season. Malik Monk, who took a pay cut to ring chase with the Lakers, is going to be a free agent, and he's all but gone. This year he averaged 14 points, shooting 39% from 3. He's just 24 years old, and I assume he's going to be going somewhere else to get a bag, as it doesn't look like the Lakers are a free ring anymore. Dwight Howard, Carmelo Anthony, Wayne Ellington, Avery Bradley, Kent Bazemore, Austin Reeves, DJ Augustine are all free agents. The only other players they have locked up are Stanley Johnson and Wayne Gabriel. So even if they're able to pull off a trade, and let's say get Buddy Hield and Malcolm Brogdon, that just starts their offseason. They've still got 75% of their roster to fill out with extremely limited options, especially after a disappointing season, making them way less enticing to veterans on the hunt for a championship. It's also worth mentioning they just fired their head coach Frank Vogel, who they won a title with just 2 short seasons ago. This might not be the easiest role to fill, and it'll probably just add to the uncertainty surrounding this team. I can't imagine too many of the top candidates being thrilled to hop on a ship that's about to crash. So let's take a look at their draft picks. This year, their pick is either going to New Orleans or Memphis. In 2023, they're going to have a first rounder, but New Orleans has the right to swap with theirs. In 2024, the Pelicans have the right to the Lakers selection, or they could push it to 2025, depending on where it ends up. The Lakers own their pick in 2026, but they can't trade it because they don't know if the Pelicans are going to have theirs in 2025. They also own their picks in 2027, 2028, and 2029, but again, because of the rules, they can only actually trade the picks in 2027 and 2029. So we could be looking at a scenario, and let's say the Lakers send Russell Westbrook first round picks in 2027 and 2029 for Buddy Hield and Malcolm Brogdon. Anthony Davis and LeBron James deal with injuries, causing the Lakers to once again fall short. LeBron leaves on a 1-year placeholder. Anthony Davis has just 1 more year left on his deal with diminished value. There's no young talent in sight to fall back on, and a full-on rebuild seems ridiculous, with this team only outright owning 2 draft selections through 2029. This has to be scary for Lakers fans, and man, would I not want to be in this scenario. As crazy as it seems, it's almost in their best interest for this era to blow up sooner rather than later. Now, speaking of that, I don't think it's as crazy as it really sounds. With this situation appearing to only get worse, it's only going to take the slightest interest from someone like LeBron or AD about moving on for the Lakers to jump on it. If LeBron's going to go to a team temporarily before Bronny gets to the league, I could see him wanting to go back to Cleveland's revamped roster for a couple seasons, which is actually a super interesting scenario given the contract of Kevin Love, Colin Sexton most likely headed out via a trade and a ton of picks to give up. The Cavaliers could realistically do this without giving up their main core. Just think about how fun this offseason would be if we had both LeBron James and Anthony Davis in the trade market. For the sake of the content, man, do I hope something like this happens some way, somehow, but I wouldn't count on it. Anthony Davis recently spoke about him and LeBron getting back to their championship mentality, saying, "I think us two can. We've shown that we can. I don't know if that's something we just have to reevaluate this offseason. Upstairs, me and him talking about the season and what we'd like to do next season and kind of just figure it out. We'll come together as a group to get back to that championship mentality that we had in our first year." That's going to be a very interesting conversation from the standpoint of what's changed. I mean, injuries, but even when we were healthy, I don't think we were able to reach our full potential for whatever reason. So I think we want to figure it out and get back to that championship pedigree that us players know we're capable of. The goal in the NBA is to not hang around mediocrity. It's to set yourself up to win a championship. The Lakers are in that position, so I think they're going to go for it. But it's safe to say it's going to be a very, very long road ahead after that. So for the sake of the Lakers, let's hope they get that championship. But that's the end video, guys. You guys tell me your thoughts in the comments below. If you liked the video, smash the like button, smash the subscribe button, and I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.